All right, everyone, Assalamu alaikum, peace be upon you all. I pray everyone is doing great. Let's go ahead and get started. Welcome to our Islam 101 class that we have every Sunday here at IIOC. Hoping to always have a support system for our brothers and sisters that might be new to Islam, people coming back to Islam, mentors of our new Muslim brothers and sisters, or anybody that just wants to come by and check it out. So welcome to you all. And again, extending a welcome to everybody online as well. For those of you maybe that have just walked in at the tail end of this, there's food, refreshments, and all that good stuff in the back. And we do hope that those that are online, if they're in the locality, they can come by, swing by, enjoy some lunch with us, and hang out with us as well. As we like to say, we have a double shot of Shaykh Jibreel this week. We have him on Friday, halal way, you know what I'm saying? Take it easy, take it easy. Friday, and then of course today, Sunday as well for our 101 class. We're going to be going over Surah Al-Asr, which is chapter 103 or part 103 in the Qur'an. It's a very powerful surah in the Qur'an, as they all are. And Shaykh Jibreel is going to take us through this. And then, of course, we'll open up a discussion at the end as well, God willing, inshallah. And so should you have any questions per the topic at hand, feel free to hold those questions till the tail end of the conversation. We will go from there, inshallah, God willing. And yeah, of course, Shaykh Jibreel is no stranger to our community. I'd like to always introduce him to those that might be new. He's the director of Muslim life at Chaplain University. And he's been supporting our program here at IIOC, specifically our conference support system, which is amazing. So, Shaykh Jibreel, floor is all yours. Thank you so much.
Excuse me. In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the bestower of mercy, praise and thanks belong to Him alone, and may peace and blessings be upon the one who's been sent as a mercy to all of creation, the Prophet Muhammad, and upon his family and his companions and those that follow them excellently until the day of judgment. Before we begin the 103rd section or chapter of the Qur'an, first thing, whether you are a new Muslim or restarting your deen, your way of life, or you're trying to grow as a Muslim, this book called the Qur'an, if you don't hold on to it, you are opening up yourself to humiliation. Number one. With that being said, that would behoove us then to do whatever we can to do the best we can to engage and study this to the best of our ability, of course, with people that are qualified to walk us through and understand. The Qur'an, and you're new, so I'm going to walk you through this, okay? The Qur'an is, as we all know, it is the unchanged word of God. All right. And it was revealed in Arabic. And Allah has blessed us to have it translated into various languages. However, any language that is translated to could possibly not fully encompass the original language. That would be the case for any language. And those that speak Spanish, if you try to translate it, there are certain things you just can't really get the essence of. In French, the same thing, Italian, etc., etc., etc. However, we try our best, though. Okay? We try our best. Number two, the Qur'an is not arranged in some historical order. It is of such wherein it begins with the opening chapter, which we all must memorize and know for our prayers. You're new and you're on the pathway, so I ain't talking to you. All right. But you make sure you learn it, though. Then after that, we find that in general, the roughly translated chapters, there are 114 of them, start with the largest until the smallest. largest to the smallest. And they all have chapter headings. Those chapter headings are of such that give us an idea as to what is the main theme that God wants us to get from the Qur'an, because the Qur'an is a message. Exactly. It's a message. All right. He's cool. He's cool. What's his name?
His name is Daniel. We call him Danny.
Daniel or Danny. Little man. All right. MashaAllah. May Allah bless him. Huh? Shaykh and trainer. All right, man. My man. My man. Inshallah. That would be something though, right? I'll probably be let's see. How old is he? 2 years. He's two that dude's 2 years old, mashallah. Mashallah. Man, okay. Man. All right. Mashallah. Man. Wow. Lord, what wouldn't that be something? All right. I'm gone, maybe. Let's see. I might still be alive. I don't know. But let's say I was. And then one day this dude, man, he's talking Arabic and speaking about Qur'an and everything. I'm like, yo, I remember that kid, man. Remember that kid, man. Inshallah. Inshallah. Okay. So that's the next thing. That being said, we should give a quick introduction to this particular chapter, or if you will. So it's 103rd, and it was revealed. It is the 13th as far as the history of Revelation. It is considered to be the 13th chapter that was revealed. 13th chapter that was revealed. That's significant. I'll tell you why. The Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, his ministry was for 23 years. 23 years. 13 in Mecca, 10 in Medina. 13 in Mecca, 10 in Medina. Looking at the first 13 years, the first 3 years within the 13, he was commanded by God to present his message privately. And then after the third year of his prophecy, he was commanded to openly invite people and encourage people to leave the paganism that existed in Mecca and to return to the way of their ancestor, Prophet Abraham. May Allah bless him and grant him peace, which is, of course, the belief that there is nothing worthy of worship except for God. Well, as people were accepting the message, although sparingly, they were going through, in other words, the followers of the Prophet of Islam, Muhammad, they were going through persecution. They were going through boycotting, and some of them, unfortunately, were killed, etc. Ordinarily, when we read stuff like this, people might think, well, maybe they should have stopped, but they did not. They persevered. This particular chapter that was revealed during a time period when the Muslims at that time were experiencing heightened hate toward them. This particular chapter was revealed during the time period where the Muslims were experiencing heightened hostility addressed toward them. This chapter has 3 verses in it, and is considered one of the shortest chapters in the Qur'an. It was revealed in the Meccan time period, as we said, and for you, Etzel, understand this very carefully. The surahs or chapters that are considered Meccan, revealed in Mecca, they have specific qualities. They particularly focus on the foundations of belief and also how to conduct oneself. All right. Now let's kind of go through this. Let's go through this chapter. Allah says, and I'll just get the translation. I swear by, as Jamal mentioned, Asr, A-S-R. You should know that whenever God or Allah swears by a piece of creation, you should know that there is much benefit behind God swearing by that piece of creation. And he's the only one that is allowed to swear by a piece of creation because he created it. That's why. This is an indication then that time, also translated as time, we should know then that Allah wants us to pay attention to time. I swear by time. Why should we swear by time? Why should we pay attention to time? Because time in it by itself is an amazing piece of creation. That's why. Civilizations come, civilizations go. Civilizations reach the height of power and then they decline. We find that every day something that Allah has decreed takes place in this thing called time. Like you accepting Islam, for example. Nobody knew that before except for Allah. Let that sink in for a minute. All right. In time as well, we experience health and sickness, peace and lack thereof, poverty, richness. That's why we should pay attention to time. Furthermore, Allah wants us to pay attention to time from the standpoint of that each and every day, our time on this planet Earth actually is slowly declining. It has been said by some children of Adam, know for sure that as you get older, a piece of you goes away. Know for sure that as you get older, a piece of you goes away. And so therefore, this one verse, God is calling to our attention the necessity, the need to pay attention to us and our time. Time also consists of night and day. And one of the objectives of looking at night and day and reflecting on night and day is something that God wants us to pay attention to in another part of the Qur'an. In the 25th chapter, verse number 62, it is there that God says, "It is He who made the night and day follow each other." Night and day, they follow each other. It is He who made the night and day follow each other, so anyone who wishes may be mindful or show gratitude. So another point then about time is to reflect upon the fact that we should reflect and also show gratitude and contentment for the time that we've been given. Also, another reason why we should pay attention to time is because there's a prayer that we pray in this time period called Salat Al-Asr. And the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, has mentioned that whoever intentionally misses this particular prayer is as if their family and their money has been robbed. Okay? It is also, this thing called time is an opportunity to reflect upon the time of Islam. In other words, the fact that the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, being the final and the seal of all prophets, him being the final prophet to restore what the children of Israel And those who claim to be Christian had distorted from the messages of Moses and Jesus, the son of Mary. May Allah grant them peace and blessings. Second verse, after Allah makes an oath to time, then he calls to our attention something that we should really be very aware of. He says that indeed or surely humanity is in a state of loss or is in loss. Indeed or surely humanity is in loss. The word that Allah uses here is used metaphorically. Linguistically, it means like a profit. I buy something and then I sell it. So if I sell it, if I sold this cup of coffee, for example, I bought it for $10, I want to sell it for $15, then my profit is $5. But if I sold this thing, I only got $9, I lost $1. You understand that? Allah here is saying that human beings or humanity is in loss. They lose something. What do they lose? Well, there are two types of people. They're either Muslim or not Muslim. As far as the non-Muslim, they lose, well, they may have everything in this life, but they'll lose everything in the hereafter. Why? Because they didn't submit to the one true God. So people always ask me, well, what if they never heard the message of Islam before? Allah will deal with that on the day of judgment. And those people that have heard about Islam and chose not to accept, well, and they are insistent upon that, well, that's your choice. So for the non-Muslim, the one that refuses or doesn't accept submitting to the one true God and devoting herself and himself to him, they build or they lead themselves to an evil ending, even if they are a billionaire or a trillionaire. May Allah protect us. Hypocrites as well. Hypocrites also fall under this as well. Because hypocrites, see, there's a thing called hypocrites. In Islam, a hypocrite is someone that on the tongue says they're Muslim, but in their heart they don't believe. That's a hypocrite. Hypocrites they also run the risk of being, or they definitely are in loss as well. In fact, their situation is worse than the one that openly rejects submission and devotion to the one true God. In fact, their loss is that they are on the lower depths of the hellfire, the lowest of the depths of the hellfire. That's a pretty bad situation. Those are non-Muslims. What about Muslims? How are Muslims in loss? Muslims are in loss because we are of different levels. Not everybody's at the same level of devotion. Not everybody is at the same level of devotion. We have some, Allahu Akbar, memorize the entire Qur'an, know all the hadith. They go to the masjid, the mosque. You see them in the front row. Beautiful, man. Beautiful. I mean, fasting and everything. Bless you. All right. They do everything. Right? They do everything. They do everything to the best of their ability. Right, to be a Muslim. Then you got you have on the other end those that don't pray, those that don't fast, those that don't do nothing. And even some of these people that may be at the highest level of apparent religious devotion, if they don't watch themselves, they can also experience loss as well. Why? Number one, for not being sincere, and number two, from slacking off. You got to be consistent. As a new Muslim, Your objective should be to reach a higher level of devotion at a slow, steady progress. Let me say that again. As a new Muslim, your objective should be, to do what? What I say? Huh? My man. My man. MashaAllah. I like you, man. MashaAllah. Yeah. As we mentioned the other night, slow and steady, but with progress. I know people that at one time they accepted Islam, right? And then they just jumped they started fasting. They fasted Mondays and Thursdays. And they started fasting every 13th, 14th, and 15th of the lunar months and everything. They did all kind of fasting. Now they ain't fasting no more. All right, happens. All right. I know brothers and sisters who, they get into the Islam, and then they hear about the late night prayer, the prayer before the dawn prayer, last third of the night. They say, I'm gonna try and do that, and they try and do it, and then next thing you know, they left it off. They stop. Why you stop? Like, if you're gonna do something, do it. So Muslims are of different levels then. Those who are highly devoted, those that are struggling with their devotion and they know it, and then those that don't care. And those that do not care, I mean, that's reality. Some don't care. That's why I told you the other night, look here. Was it you? What? I told you the other night, look here. I mean, Muslims are different types. The young brother named Caesar, he was here the other time I was here too, right? He was here, right? I told him the same thing. Look here, man. We got problems in our communities, man. We do. I mean, some Muslims, man, they're not taking this thing seriously. They going through stuff. Maybe one day Allah will guide their hearts and they'll wake up. I don't know. We don't know. But as it stands right now, they don't care. Thus, they don't pray. That's the worst thing. That's a terrible thing. They may speak ill about certain things about Islam, etc., etc., etc. My point is that we have to remember that this sentence, humanity is in loss, that's applicable for everybody in this room in some way, shape, or form. All right? That's applicable for everybody in this room. But here's the thing. In the third verse, in the final verse, Allah gives an exception, except for those who believe and do righteous deeds, encourage one another to the truth, and encourage one another to be patient and steadfast. 4 things. Okay. Let's talk about the first. So there are 4 descriptions then for people to, if you will, regain any loss that they may have accrued. The first is belief. In other words, belief in what? Belief in Allah. That's right. The 6 pillars of faith, or belief. 6 pillars of belief. First, believe in Allah. Belief in Allah. We say, of course, we believe that Allah exists, and that's the thing people like. And yes, I know that that God is only worthy of worship. Great, fantastic. So, how do you think about Allah? What you mean? How you think about Allah? You think well of Allah, or you think bad of Allah? That's a question. It's a fair question. Well, I never thought of it like that. Some people didn't think it like that. You know why I asked that question? Because there are people out here that think that, and I'm not picking on you because it's a question that's been asked by Muslims who've been born and raised as Muslim for I don't know how long. They think that because that they slipped up, they made mistakes, sinning, living foul, whatever words you want to use, they think that Allah ain't gonna forgive them. Right there, that shows you don't really understand Allah. I ain't talking about you. All right. Okay. I'm serious. Like, cats be asking me this question all the time. You know, I'm a bad Muslim. All right, well, fix yourself. That's all. Well, you know, I don't know. I just feel like Allah ain't gonna forgive me. How you know that, man? Where in the Quran does it say that? He says he don't forgive the unforgivable sin. That's it. Are you saying that God got a son? No. You saying that you equal to God? No. Are you saying this is equal to what are you saying then? So where's your belief then, dude? Or do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, I mean, this is wrong, man. On the flip side, though, check it out now. You got some cats out here who do like this, and I've heard this before, man. It's all good. I mean, you know, I make mistakes and everything. I just go to the hellfire for a little while, and then I get out the joint. Say what? You ever heard something like that before? You heard something like that before? Man, I said, what you mean, man? Do you know about the hellfire? Like, cats don't read about that stuff, man. Next month, we're going to talk about that, inshallah. All right. That's okay. I just, you know, I'm a Muslim. Yeah, I understand that. So, hold on. You missing Jumu'ah, for example, no problem, right? You know what happens when you miss Jumu'ah intentionally? The first time you miss it, you get a black dot placed on your heart. This is not obligatory. I'm talking to the men now. For y'all, it's highly recommended. Talk to the men. Okay? You miss Jumu'ah intentionally, you get a black spot. And then another black spot. And then after that, the third one, your heart is covered, sealed. You want to take that chance with Allah? Like, what people be thinking, man? So, we got on one hand, we got cats saying stuff like, Allah ain't gonna forgive me. The other one talking about, well, you know, Allah gonna forgive me even though I'm out here living foul. Well, you know, living foul is the gateway to, well, possibly, you know, dying in disbelief. You know that, right? Like, cats don't think like that, man. It's not like you go from, I don't know, drinking some beer and then saying, I don't believe in God. There are steps to this, and the devil be waiting. The devil don't sleep, man. So then belief in Allah, as an example, is to have a balance between the following: loving Allah, which is default, having hope in his reward, and fearing his punishment. That's, in summary, what belief in God is about. And then the other things as well. And part of that is this, that we should really take some time out to think about what are the benefits of belief in these 6 articles. Now, the Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless him and grant him peace, mentioned that there are over 70 branches of belief. And those 70 branches in some way go back to articulating the 6 articles of belief. The greatest branch and the best is to say that there's La ilaha illallah. There's nothing worthy of worship except for Allah. And the humblest form of faith or belief is to remove harmful things off the pathway. And modesty is a branch of faith or belief, acting modestly. That's just not applicable to women, also to men. Word. Number 2, after the belief, is to do righteous deeds. Because belief is not just simply words, it's also actions. Actions of the heart and actions of the limbs. Action of the heart and action of the limbs. And belief and conviction increases the more we do acts of good and decreases the more we do evil deeds. That's why I said people need to be real careful talking this nonsense about, I just live foul and just go into go into hellfire and get burnt up for a little while and then come on out and everything. It don't work like that. All right. The lesser your belief might be, the closer you are to falling into disbelief. That's the point, man. Except those who believe. So the idea of recouping our losses, belief, and then doing righteous deeds, and then after that, encouraging one another to be on the truth. Encouraging one another to be on the truth. The truth here is Al-Qur'an. The truth here is Al-Qur'an. Being, in other words, encouraging one another to adhere to the Qur'an. Why the Qur'an? Because the Qur'an makes it very clear what we're supposed to be doing. It teaches us our belief system. It teaches us how to conduct ourselves. There are commands in there. There are prohibitions in there. That's why. So as a new Muslim, I said it earlier, circling back to what I said before, a person who doesn't try to hold on to the Quran, whether it be in Spanish or the translations in Spanish or English or French or whatever, or those who are able to read it in Arabic and understand it, not taking time out to understand what your Lord is trying to tell you, that's a gateway, honestly, to slip in and slide in until you crash. Okay? But isn't encouraging one another, admonishing one another, extolling one another, those are all different translations. Isn't that part of doing the righteous deeds? The answer is yes, of course. So why would Allah mention that when he just could have said, just do righteous deeds? Because that is one of the most important things with regards to doing righteous deeds. There is an individual and a communal benefit. That's why. There is an individual and a communal benefit by doing that. Individually, taking time out, of course, to practice what one's learned, and communally, to remind people, don't forget Allah said such and such in the Qur'an, like you are, and reminding that person. Maybe it might shake their heart and be like, yeah, they get back together. Or encouraging them to hold on to the book of Allah. Then the final and fourth and final thing, as far as recouping our losses, is to admonish, extol, encourage each other to be patient. I said to you before that this chapter or section was revealed. It was the 13th chapter revealed during the whole history of the revelation. And I said that the Muslims were experiencing a heightened sense of hostility toward them. Yet instead they were told that if you want to be a winner, y'all gotta encourage each other to be patient. So let me say the same thing now. Hostility in the United States of America is not a thing of not just Fox News or the Muslims and no. I mean that happens from time to time. There are different forms of hostility, and they're very subtle. The subtleness of just leaving God, and that's not just related to Muslims. That's also for every other person who claims to be of religion. That the winds are changing in this country. The winds of detaching oneself from God and being attached to all this materialism is the new religion. And it is going at us in different directions. So much so that, to kind of give us an idea of this and how there's so much of this desire to have us take our minds off of the Creator and more on the creation. Black Friday was never pumped out until after Thanksgiving. Now it's pumped out, mashallah, weeks before Thanksgiving. It was never like that before. All right. Christmas is becoming so consumerism oriented now that people talk about it in daggone September. It used to be a time I actually talked about it in December. Yeah, I don't think that's by design. I do. It's by design to get us more and more consumed to deal with this calling of being a consumer and not thinking about the one that creates all this in the first place. So the idea then of encouraging one another to be steadfast and patient. Listen, when you encourage people, to try to be steadfast and to avoid conducting themselves in a manner that's not pleasing to Allah, rest assured you're going to catch some drama. When you have accepted Islam, some of you went back home and you told your folk, I'm a Muslim. You think some of y'all had open arms with that joint? Nah, man. It was like, what? You did what? Now, I can only imagine your folk, they speak to you in Spanish or English. I can only imagine what they said to you in Spanish. For example, you know what I'm saying? Word. My man. Right? I mean, a lot of us, when we accepted Islam, it was like, you did what? For real? Why? Or whatever. Like, it was just like, it was nuts. I can think about all the stuff. When I think about it, I reflect upon all the different people that I knew when I told them, look, man, I'm Muslim, or look, so-and-so, I'm Muslim, or this, that, and the third. And I just recall all the different things that were said to me to know, to have doubts about me being a Muslim. Yeah, going like that. Yeah, we know what you're talking about. Yeah, we understand. So when that happens, what should we do? Well, we should try to find people to kind of restore our sensibilities that your choice is the best choice you will ever make in your life. All right? That's what we should be doing. All right. Lastly, some verses for us to. How much time I got, brother? Am I done? You sure? Be honest. Fine. All right, my man. I know you could. Okay, I got you. Part of now that's the communal type of encouraging one another to be patient, etc. There's an individual form of patience as well, and that individual form is being very careful as to how we conduct ourselves. You see, look, we all have desires, we all have wants, and we have to be very careful sometimes. All right. And so part of the idea of encouraging and extolling patience and perseverance is not just simply being a Muslim, but understanding that you and I have a new lifestyle. It's a shift in lifestyle. Certain things we just can't do anymore, even though maybe I would really love to. All right? But I shouldn't be doing that. That's called patience. That's called patience. There's certain things that I gotta do, and it's kind of, it's gonna be a trial. It's gonna be, that's gonna be tough, but you gotta do it. That's called being patient as well, because of the fact that behind it, there's a lot of good, even though you may not, or I may not see it initially. I think that's all I have. I have a few more pages of stuff, but I think that's all I'll present for today. As a summary, I encourage you to do the following. Try to learn this particular chapter. And the companions of Prophet Muhammad, may Allah bless them and grant them peace, when they departed from one another, they used to shake hands. And they used to say this particular chapter to one another. They used to read it to one another before they departed, to remind each other about how to be a winner and to avoid being a loser. So we ask Allah, the Most High, to bless us and bless this gathering, and bless all of you and grant you success in this life and hereafter, and grant you an ease of understanding, first memorizing, and then understanding this chapter and letting it be one of your favorite chapters in your prayers. Ameen.
Ameen. Thank you so much, Shaykh Jibreel Speight. Of course, volumes can be written on this part 103 or Surah 103. So we appreciate you giving us an overview and going into some depth as well. So let's go ahead and open it up, brothers and sisters, and of course, and guests and everybody online as well. If you have any questions per the topic that we went over today, feel free. Inshallah, you can. Those that are online, you can drop them in the comment section. And of course, here on site, if you have any questions, just raise your hand. I'll be more than happy to come up. Mic is okay. Okay.
Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. I live in Los Angeles, in South Central. I come out here because this is where I took my Shahada, and it's a special place for me. To get more knowledge, there's 2 masjids near me. One is by USC campus. It's different. There's one on Central that's been built since the 70s. Oh, it's awesome. Just for classes though, right? Just to gain extra knowledge. How do I know? And I had a bad experience at the one on Central over Thanksgiving as far as the callousness of that day. I'm native and Creole. So that day to me, I said, you know, dude, I was really, really out of my element well, you already know. If someone's not, you are the only person, the only Shaykh, am I saying that right? Sorry. I've been going through this since Thanksgiving. That even said, it's wrong. I heard you. I was at work on a Friday, and you're the only one that said it was wrong. So I like to believe that for everyone else, I like to believe that that's their freedom to do that because they're not part of our ummah. In our ummah, I'm going to check you. I'm going to check you. Believe that. And I did it respectfully. I did it tactfully. I did it tastefully. Now I'm pissed off. And behind anger is hurt. We know that. So moving forward, I said, you know what? I'm not going to get anywhere going back and forth. I'm going to look like the fool, right? That's what's said. So I said, let me go check out this place on Central just to gain knowledge, right? Just for extra classes. So how do I know when I go to a masjid? Brother Jamal made it clear for me as a newcomer when I stepped foot on these grounds what this Orthodox part of Islam stood for. There was no ambiguity, and it was so pleasant. How do I know when I'm going to a masjid what they stand for? How do I, if I'm just trying to get knowledge, and then if we're Sunni, right? How do I know I'm not getting, because in LA there's a lot of Shias with the nation, and they've been my friends for years. But when it comes to certain things, I know, okay, dude, I don't want to learn certain things from you. I want to learn certain things. But then they said, Shay, but you're going to be a bad Muslima if you divide us. Don't think like that. And I'm like, no, I don't. Okay, I'm gonna leave it there and let you answer. And that was it. That was it. How do I know when I'm trying to learn from a masjid? How do I know they're teaching? Like, well, how do I know what to look for? Is what I'm saying. Okay.
MashaAllah. How long you been Muslim?
I was married to someone from the nation.
Oh, really?
I know it's a shock. I was married to someone from the nation, so I couldn't get out of my gospel music. I shared with people. So I put my toe in
Yeah.
10 years, but only in the past few months have I.
Okay, it's fine. Everybody got a story. It's all good. Everybody got their own journey about, I really appreciate this question. Then let me just say it like this. First of all, a long time ago, there used to be a situation where, you would, a person, male or female, would be able to go to a government run or government sanctioned educational institution. You'd be certified, and then from there you would you would either be assigned as a judge. Well, us men would be assigned maybe as a judge if we took it, or as a teacher or a scholar in a masjid or a mosque, male or female, etc. In the United States of America, it's a daggone free for all. Everybody and their mama and their daddy got something to say about Islam. And it's gotten worse ever since I come back from Mecca, to be honest with you. I mean, back in the day, back in the day, that sounds so old. But back in the day, when I was a youngin in Islam, right? We could tell, who had, in basketball terminology, who got a handle, who ain't got a handle. You know what I'm saying? Right? We could tell who had a handle, didn't have a handle. How come? Because you can see from their educational background, right? But nowadays, people can just think that they can just get from YouTube and, get some, some Kool-Aid brand type joint, and then they think they can just get on the microphone or come over here and say this, that, and the third. You're gonna have to ask them straight up. Ask them, yo, what's your credentials? You want to know mine? Do you know my credentials? Okay, I'll tell you. All right. So, and I'm not offended, oh, by the way. See, when they get offended, then that should be a red flag right there. All right. Because someone that has studied understands that this is a trust that Allah has given. See, when you call yourself a student of knowledge, when you are embarking on the path of learning Islamic knowledge, you are saying, I want to inherit from all of the prophets that walked on this planet Earth. That's a huge responsibility. Okay? With that being said, I accepted Islam 30 years ago. All right? My first 3 years, I prayed. I didn't know no Qur'an. And I stayed away from all the things that I stayed away from, music and women and drinking and all that stuff. I was trying to be, straight up, no pork, none of that, clean living. All right. But I didn't know much about no deen, about Islam. And then what happened? So I started to become, I finished my education, and then I relocated to the Boston area, North Andover, Massachusetts, which is 45 minutes north of Boston. It's beautiful up there. New Hampshire, though, man, that's a trip. They got that license plate called Live Free or Die. I said, what is that, man? That's some straight up stuff. What is that? Live Free or Die? Like, dang, man, okay. Hey, these guys ain't playing up here. It was there that the brother, by Allah's permission, that got me the job working at AT&T back then as an engineer, told me, hey, man, they having they got different classes. You want to come? Yeah, cool. It was at MIT. So every Saturday I drive down, right? I would drive down 45 minutes in the traffic. This is before they made that big dig and everything they used to call it. So I would, I had to deal with all that massive traffic. It's very similar to going from Anaheim to LA on a weekday. It was rough. Anyway, I went, And my first teacher was Suhail Lahir. All right. He and I still keep in contact today. He's a doctor now, mashallah. All right. And we went through a text on Iman. Okay. Brother thorough, mashallah, like thorough. He had notes and he had to have a binder and everything. Then I started learning that. This is all in English. I started learning hadith sciences. And then I started learning memorization of the Qur'an. Now, before I started going to that, let me tell you my Qur'an story for a minute. In North Andover, right, there was a masjid there, a mosque there, mostly Indo-Pakistani. And again, I didn't know much Qur'an. I knew Fatiha, the first chapter. That was it. I knew that, and I think that was it. So one day I'm in the mosque. I'm by myself. And they have this Saturday school going on, as many places do. And part of their Saturday school, they would have these big old signs like this TV, and they would have the actual Qur'an and then the transliteration in English. And I don't know what happened. One day Allah just gave me some just desire to just look at that, and I started reading the transliteration. And that was my first, that was my first like opening to learning Qur'an. Anyway, in North End, in Boston, I started memorizing Qur'an. Right, I started learning how to pronounce the letters. I knew how to write them. I knew how to write them when I was in North Carolina. I was going to school, and the Jordanian brother walked me through the Arabic letters a little bit. And then, so I memorized the 30th part of the Qur'an, and then the 29th and the 28th. I remember that, yeah. So, and then ultimately, I relocated to the DMV area, DC, Maryland, Virginia area. Worked for the Patent and Trademark Office. Oh, before that, I'm sorry. Throughout the course of my memorization, I started to also give sermons or khutub as well, as I was learning. And what I used to do, I would visualize what I'm going to talk about. Let's say I want to talk about, I don't know, give me a topic. Patience, thank you. I would talk about patience, right? So what I would do is I would write the verse. I would write the verse with my bare hand. Then I would write the hadith, the prophetic statement in Arabic. All right. I would read it, memorize the whole thing, and I would give my khutbah without any paper. Memorization. People thought I was an Arab. So nah, man. Right. So eventually I relocate to the DC, Maryland, Virginia area, and work for the Patent and Trademark Office. And every day after work, I would go to the Islamic Foundation of America, and it was there that I completed a vast majority of memorization of the Qur'an. I finished up to the 12th chapter, Surah Yusuf. About a year and change goes by or so. I was working, and then also being more active in Islamic propagation and da'wah and everyone having. And then I had a desire to study. I wanted to take it to another level. A brother had encouraged me to go study. So I applied to go to Mecca. I got accepted to study in Mecca. That was right after 9/11. Right after 9/11, January after 9/11, got accepted. January 21st was the first day of class. Never forget it. You know when I got the acceptance letter? January 10th. You understand me? I had 11 days to sell my gear and get going. So I get over to Mecca, studied Arabic language full time. There was no English. It wasn't no, it's me, Jibreel. My name is Jibreel. No. It was Arabic. It wasn't no English. And I studied vocabulary, grammar, rhetoric, morphology, etc. I finished the Qur'an, alhamdulillah, at the Sacred Mosque. My Shaykh and teacher, Uthman al-Muallim. May Allah bless him, grant him, may Allah bless him. And then from there, I would go to the different study circles in the Sacred Mosque. So I studied with scholars like Shaykh Abdurrahman al-Ajlan, his brother Muhammad al-Ajlan, let's see. Also studied that was with fiqh, with the law, as well as tafsir. I studied with Shaykh Wasiullah Abbas in hadith terminologies, science of hadith. I didn't complete the book though, I just some of it. And then I got accepted to study in judicature at the Al-Qura University. Basically, how to be a judge. How to be a judge. It's like law stuff, real law stuff. And I studied that. It took me about 5 years to complete that. I was the first North American to be accepted in that program. I don't like to talk about that, but you asked me, so here we go. All right, so I was first. Thank you. First North American accepted in that program. All right, so I finished the program, and my desire to continue learning went up exponentially. I wound up staying, got accepted in the graduate program, wherein although my certificate, my degree says Islamic law with a specialty in judicature, with a intense specialty in Islamic legal theory. Okay, that's like some real deep stuff. Not everybody know that stuff. Basically, put it like this. The program that I was in, if I were Saudi, I would be a judge right now. You understand me? And the background, my educational background was of such wherein I can say that, yeah, I think I have a very good foundation in addressing both the old and new issues requiring a legal ruling. So that's why when I said Thanksgiving, I ain't with that and this, that, and the third. I'm not saying it off my hip. I'm saying it based upon my teachings and my learnings. Also, some of my teachers were Sheikh Dr. Ahmed Zamzami, one of my teachers, man, mashallah. All right. Also, my Sheikh Ahmed Siddiq. All right. And these are also some of my teachers as well. Sheikh Muhammad Walid Salim, Al-Mubaraki, from Mauritania. Let's see. And I read to him Qur'an, different way of reading it, and hadith. Sheikh Ahmed Zamzami, I read to him books in Islamic legal theory, logic, and those two. And as far as Ahmed Siddiq, all my learning in a particular school of law, the Maliki madhab. Okay, we'll talk about that another time. So that gives you a glimpse of who I am. Ain't much, but alhamdulillah. Okay, so you need to ask these cats, what makes you so special? What makes you qualified to talk about these things? That's kind of crude how I'm saying it, but you get the idea. Ask for people's credentials. You asked me, so I shared it with you, and I'm not insulted by it or taken aback. I appreciate you asking me. And that's what you should do for everybody. You should ask, ask. Even with if it's Sheikh Mustafa, you should ask him, what are your credentials? If it's Sheikh Tariq Ata, Sheikh Ahmed Kurdi, or anybody else, ask them, what are your credentials? Ask. Because you got to understand something. It's been said by some of the early pious ancients, this way of life is based upon narration. Look at the people who narrate to you your deen, your way of life. You understand? So you may have cats who are self-studied. I mean, okay, that's a risk. I wouldn't sit with them. But I'm more of a traditionalist, all right? And I believe that, there are people out here still that have been blessed with the wherewithal to have a really solid foundation of this deen. That's why I have no problems in talking about what the Qur'an says, because my background, and I thank Allah for this, gives me the ability to go through the Qur'an with hopefully some sort of a fine-tooth comb. I have no problem in talking about hadith or prophetic traditions and what we can learn from it. No problem. I can also talk to you about the authenticity or lack thereof and this, that, and the third. No problem with that. I got no problem talking about Arabic language as well, even though some Arabs may have a problem with it. Ain't my problem though. Feel me? So that's my first suggestion. Second suggestion is to be patient. And you coming down here so you can hear my big mouth and learn a little something, uh, you know, shows that you serious about learning. You've taken on the mantle of being a student of knowledge and the hardship of going through that. So may Allah grant you success and reward you for your efforts. All right. So at USC on Thursdays, there is not now because the semester's ended, but there is a study circle on Thursdays. There is a black Muslim male that gives that class. That's me. We talk about Qur'an that we give. So, I mean, if you can get on campus, good luck with that. You got to show that you vaccinated everything. So I don't know if you into the vaccinations or not. Okay. If you can get on campus, then get on campus and go to the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life. Anytime you want to get an actual, you get the thing. Make sure you, 6 o'clock on Thursdays. 6 o'clock on Thursdays. If you can come, all right? If you can come. But right now we're not doing anything. When they start semester, it's the Office of Religious and Spiritual Life. All right. If you want my email, I can send you the link as to how to register yourself to get on campus and do that. So that's something, something. Okay. USC, yeah. All right. That was a long answer. If it's okay though. Your questions, man, I gotta be like, woo, let me think about this one. That's good. Thank you. Appreciate you. Yo. Alaikum salam.
So, oftentimes when we come into Islam, or we feel like we get rejuvenated.
Hold on. Take the mic, bro.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Assalamu alaikum once again. All right. So, oftentimes when we come into Islam, we're overzealous. Like, oh my God, I definitely feel the light. I feel the guidance. Like, I want to share this with everybody I love. And if they're, stepping on the wrong way, like, I want to check them. I want to be able to like guide them. Or the flip side of it is if I don't guide them, I'm going to be held accountable. So I have to say something, and if they don't, I'm really hurt, like, or they brush me off. They don't want to hear me. And it affects me. I take it. This is me. This is past me. So I'm just talking about right now. Like you go through that journey, right? Especially like I can imagine a lot of the new Muslims, once they get like, some conversations going with their family and whatnot, and they start having these type of conversations, they might be really affected. How is it that, what's the balance of being able to, check them or guide them or share a few things, not be too affected personally? That's my first question. I do have another question, but I'll give you that. It's pretty loaded.
Well, with regards to someone coming new, enter into Islam, and now they feel like they now have a rejuvenation of their life and wanted to share this happiness, and I think that is a natural human feeling that people have. What has to be done, I believe, is that once a person accepts Islam, they need to be reminded that, look, and this is what I like to do when I talk to people that want to, or say the testification of faith, like with Sister Etzla, for example, and others before her, which is that when you come into Islam, you have to understand that, and once you take it slow, including for yourself, and when it comes to talking to family members and friends and what have you, be honest, be cordial, and don't overwhelm them. Do not overwhelm them, all right? If they want to know why you doing this, because that curiosity will come out in some way, shape, or form. Some of us may have already experienced that already, all right? Then that's the great opportunity to at least share with them, right, this. Let me tell you something about me personally. I'll never forget this. See, my mother never really asked me why I became Muslim. It's very interesting, right? Huh?
Even to this day, she has not asked me.
Really?
Even when I wear my job, dressing me modest, all that stuff.
She don't ask
She
you.
has never, and I don't want to open it.
Exactly. Yeah. I understand. But there's something in there. She's looking at it like, what's my daughter doing? Right. One day, I never forget this. One day, I had visited my mom, and I got to Islam. And there was this dude over. It was a plumber. Never forget, it was a plumber, right? And she happened to talk to him about me. That's what mothers do sometimes, I guess. I don't know why my name was mentioned. I have no idea. So he was really intrigued about the fact that that I was living in Mecca, right? It was at the time I was still living in Mecca, right? He was really intrigued and trying to know something about like what's it like to live in this place called Mecca, because he knew a little bit about Mecca. So he good. So he was like, he called himself being, religious and, this, that, and the third, have some God connection. So he was like, so what made you want to become Muslim? And then my mother, she's in the kitchen. And the dining area is right next to the kitchen. There ain't no door. It's wide open. Let me tell you my story. And I went through the whole joint about how, I was born and raised as an African Methodist Episcopal, you understand? And I would go to the church, right? And, I wasn't feeling it. And then, my household, we really didn't get into that religion like that. I went to Catholic school as a high schooler and everything, learning everything about Catholicism, but I really wasn't accepting what was being said. I had a hard time accepting certain things, right? And then there was a point where I was really feeling detached to God, all right, extremely. And then I was saying how I went to school, went to A&T, right, my university. I went to North Carolina, and I was exposed to the autobiography of Malcolm X, and then it was there that like I was reopened to the idea of Islam and religion in general, right? And I looked more into Islam. And then I went on to explain why I consider Islam to be the right choice for myself or for anybody else who's listening. I sort of like that, right? So I'm talking about her as well, right? So I went on ahead and explained why. So my point is that you don't want to bombard them, but when the opportunity is going to happen, I guarantee you, it's going to happen, right? When that opportunity comes, you just sit down and lay it out, or let them hear you. And you never know. They might be like, oh, okay, that's why. Now, if they accept it after, that's another thing. So that's part of the process, man. And not only that, but for us new Muslims who have all this zeal and everything, we need to remember, I'm so happy that you're Muslim, but remember, take your energy and learn how to, let's learn how to direct it in a judicious manner. Don't throw everything out there, but little by little. And that takes work, to be honest with you. That takes work. And it helps as well to pay attention to how the Prophet Muhammad also used to address people as well.
And then the last question I had was in regards to credentials, right?
Credentials, yes.
When we go into the masjid, then we ask, hey, certain imam, certain sheikh, what are your credentials, right? Especially for like new Muslims, even if for us regular Muslims, when you say, oh, you graduate from here and there, and you learn from this, to us, it could be a blur. What's the difference between learning in Mecca versus Mauritania or Egypt or whatever it may be, right? So for us, it's like, oh, cool, you are credible, right? In our eyes, how do we decipher that? But more so, I think the question is, how do we keep it basic where we're still protecting ourselves? Because I think that's the main thing, right? We don't want to fall into a line where we're going down the wrong path by learning certain things, right? So how do we keep it basic but yet protect ourselves?
Yeah, I believe that, and that's something that I try to do when I'm hanging out with y'all is to first start with Iman. That should be the number one thing. No, that should be the beginning, the middle, and the end. It's constantly the idea of belief. The majority of the Qur'an is about belief, right? That right there should tell us something. There are about 100 odd verses that talk about law and what have you, but the vast majority is about belief. So why don't we just talk about that and constantly talk about that over and over and over again? when you hear, let me tell you something. I'm sorry, but a lot of the sermons that I've gone to, and I'm not somebody. Listen, I don't give good sermons. All right, but one thing I can't stand, I don't like to hear a sermon that talks about politics, that talks about this. I want to hear something that talks about Allah. You understand? That's me. Because in the 62nd chapter, which is entitled the Friday Congregation, or Jumu'ah in Arabic, it says there, believers, when the call to pray this Jumu'ah prayer is made, hasten to the remembrance of who? Of who? Of Allah. Okay, I want to hear about Allah. I don't care. Let it be 5 minutes. It should, and that's another thing too. It shouldn't be that long, but anyway. All right. I want to hear something about that. Remind me about something. Even if I heard it a million times, if I heard Iman has 70 branches of faith, I don't mind hearing it again. The prophet is saying it. May Allah bless him and grant him peace. All right. You ain't going to go wrong when the prophet says something because that's light. You feel me? Anyway, keep it simple by focusing on belief and constantly belief. Because this right here, this heart, that thing can change in the snap of a finger. It don't change by simply hearing this is halal or this is permissible, impermissible. It goes, huh? Why are you laughing? Oh, okay. So Shay got my back. Thank you. All right. It goes with the idea of you got to hear this about Allah, because especially Friday. Friday is the day where we're gonna be resurrected. That is. Look, every piece of creation is fearful when Friday come, man. I don't think we internalize that. Except we just be like, thank God it's Friday. Nah, man. You understand what I'm trying to tell you? So that's the things that I would consider. We who have been blessed to study in the Holy Lands, Mecca, Medina, or any other place and whatnot, we have to remember that we're only getting a little small drop of Allah's knowledge. I mean, it's an infinitesimal drop of knowledge, man. And we should be the most humble out of everybody in this room. Like, I don't know nothing. You know what I'm saying? Those are signs you can tell, okay, it seems like the knowledge is doing something to him or her. Okay? Those are Allah knows best.
All right.
Thank you.
Gonna have to leave it right there. Shaykh Jibreel Speight, thank you so much. May Allah bless you, preserve you.
too.
We really appreciate it. And may Allah bless you all. Thank you all for opening up and asking your wonderful questions. I wish we had more time. Literally, as I said, we can keep Shaykh Jibreel for a few hours, but I want to respect everyone's time here, including his and his families, of course, on this beautiful Sunday. So thank you again, Shaykh Jibreel. A few announcements, and then we'll call it a session. Number one, please, if you can hang out with us, that'll be great. 3:15 is a prayer, next prayer, Surah Al-Asr. So if you want to hang out, it's about 15 minutes, 17 minutes from now. So that's number one. Number two is we still have some food and refreshments and drinks here in the back. So on your way out, if you want to grab something, you're most welcome to do so, because we do have to put everything out, put everything back as well, inshallah, God willing. Number three is we're going to keep, if it's okay, we're just going to put the tables away, but we're going to keep the chairs just because they have another event coming up momentarily or in a little while, and they asked us to keep the chairs. So we'll keep the chairs again, but the tables, if we can put away in the racks, that'll be great. And the last and certainly not least, it was a blessing for those of you that were here Friday for Coffee with the Sheikh, a session we had with Shaykh Jibreel. After the session and a little time after, one of the guests that had actually come for the session, she came to the conclusion at the end that she wanted to proceed and become a Muslim. Literally, during the session, she was not a Muslim. A little bit after the session, she took that step forward by Allah's permission, and she took her shahada, her testimony of faith, and that is none other than our dear Sister Isel, who's here today as well. So on behalf of IIOC and our wonderful family here, we just want to say congratulations. May Allah bless you. Welcome to the family. She is less than 48 hours new. Less than 48 hours, right? That's amazing, right? So she came Friday and Sunday. And of course, her wonderful son is with her, Danny. He's a Sheikh Danny, I should say, actually. Sheikh Danny in training. No, not at all. It's an honor and a privilege. So may Allah bless you. Thank you very much. And for everyone else, thank you for taking time out, and everybody online. And thank you all for the volunteers as well. I like to not announce the volunteers by name, but everyone that's behind the scenes that have been helping and that are helping, I really appreciate it, because it's not just one or two people. It's a whole village, if you will, that is helping out. So thank you all very much. We'll stop there, God willing. And then If everyone can help me out with the tables, we'd be good to go. May Allah bless you all. Thank you. Assalamu alaikum.